Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today on Tallidus Plays, we continue our 12 years later playthrough of Minecraft. Previous episode, we started off our farm, we did a little bit of mining, we got a couple pieces of iron, and we're going to continue mining for that iron today. Hopefully we'll find some diamonds, and eventually we'll complete our portal to the nether back there. Again, I believe that's sort of a set piece. It exists sort of a partially built nether portal. We also gathered this pretty cool flag from our raider neighbors. Let's get equipped here for our eventual descent back into the mines. Okay, we're equipped here. We've got a little bit of food, a whole bunch of rotten flesh, which is not the best, but usable in a pinch. And we're going to descend back to our mining area. Again, we created this sort of lit up platform in a previous episode. Sort of halfway down into our mining vicinity. And we're using this waterfall as sort of an elevator to get down underground. I'm going to basically keep mining diagonally downward from this area to find ideally some more coal and eventually some diamonds if we're lucky. We're also going to keep our eyes out for some iron. So again, I'm going this way because we know there's a big old gap that way. Of course, we got water coming in from all directions here. So we're going to avoid that water for now. I don't really feel like messing with all that. So again, big old chasm to our right here. Let's go left and down. So also this is just easy to access from our starting point. Again, I know I need to get a little bit deeper into the earth, I believe, to get a chance at diamonds. If we check our height here, our Y is -4. So if I'm not mistaken, I think it goes to like -64 or -80, something like that. It goes pretty deep. Again, unfortunately, we can't see anything after a few tiles down because we don't have any torches. So I might actually snatch a few from our immediate area. I lit it up pretty dramatically when we were dissuading any enemies from spawning in. So I'm going to grab a couple of these torches just to give us a little head start going into the underground here. Not sure if all of these are necessary, to be honest, to keep the monsters at bay. And maybe they are. Maybe I'm sabotaging myself. But either way, grab a few of these extra torches. 7 should be good. Again, I'm going to put these, when I'm tunneling downwards at a 45-degree angle, I usually put a torch down every 4 or 5 blocks just to have a light that I can see. There's something. Sounds like maybe a slime or something outside of the wall next to me, but as long as I don't have an easy path to get to him, then I'm not going to worry about it. Ooh. Looks like we have some gold. Grab this. You know what? I don't know if I can actually do this with the stone pickaxe. I need to use iron for this one. Duly noted. We will switch to iron for this. There we go. Some lessons you gotta learn the hard way. I will focus on using the stone for every other occasion, though. We don't want to waste the iron on this. So let's do that for now. Again, I carve out around the edges to make sure. Sometimes the ore veins are connected diagonally. So you might have a little extra, a little bit more than you think. But for now, that looks to be pretty clear. So we'll keep on going downward. And again, I think diamonds occur in the last 20 blocks. So I think it's like -80 to -60. Somewhere in like the bottom range near the bedrock. That's where we have the best chance at finding diamonds. I'm not sure if the biome has any effect on the chance of finding diamonds. I think it's like emeralds might be affected by that. Something like if you're in the extreme hills or something, you're more likely to find emeralds. But that could also be an outdated piece of trivia. Not sure if it still holds true. Let me check our coordinates here and see how far we got. How deep we got. Let's see, we're at -39, so not terrible. Let's head back up. And again, we might just need to do a little bit more exploration on the surface, get that easy sort of topside coal, and then we'll come back to working on the deep mine. Also, it's kind of good to mix it up just so you don't get too bored of doing one particular task. Again, I know strip mining can take forever in this game, so that is a whole separate thing. I might start doing either time lapses when that happens, because I don't want to put everyone through that tedious process. But I'm going to look around just to see if there's anything in the nearby area that we can use. I'm hearing... Oh! That's what I was hearing. It's the approach of a creeper from the darkness. What do you know? It looks like there's iron right here. So we'll grab this. Again, light is important. I think that's all I can visibly see. I'm not going to worry about going too crazy excavating around these nodes for now, but 5 iron, not a bad little haul there. I'm hearing more enemies. Oh, no. See, this is like some moss that grows over cobblestone and it makes it look sometimes like coal. I'm just going to browse around and see if there's any other exposed coal. And then we will start making our way back to the surface. Again, we have this nice little built-in skylight with the water. So we can tell that it currently seems to be nighttime out there. Yeah, so I'm not really rushing to get up topside during the night. We'd have to deal with a bunch of mobs up there, and down here it's unusually peaceful in this vicinity, so... Can I hang out? Let's go across. I built this little land bridge. Gives us access to a fairly safe slope over here by using the water. Again, there's some monsters in the area, but you can also temporarily get light from the redstone by right-clicking on it. And what do you know? That goes down pretty deep. We have a skeleton to fight. So, we'll dodge a couple arrows and see if we can't kill him. Oh, we got a little one. That's not good. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, come on. Alright, slain again. We're going to try to run back there and grab our stuff because we had some iron on us. And hopefully we can take care of these zombies. If not, we'll just run away. Looks like the trader might be partially stuck in the hole there. So we'll talk to him in a minute if we have time. Ooch. Okay, again we can use that land bridge to go back over right next to the water where we passed away due to a zombie attack. So this is the direction, if I recall. And there is our stuff, so we'll get that real quick. Seems as though the zombies have left the immediate vicinity, which is nice of them to do. We have our iron, we have our iron pickaxe, and honestly, I might keep running around. Again, we'll be more inclined to sort of save ourselves as we gain more gear, and obviously more experience. We would want to save that to use to upgrade our items. But in the short term, I'm playing a little sloppy, just because I can. And I'm staying up on the wall here because I want to have the option to go down if I need to. For instance, skeletons. They have a hard time shooting upwards. And this looks like diamond to me. Let's try to get this. Yes! We have found, and actually mined, diamond. So I'm going to use the iron pickaxe on the diamond to get it all out here. And again, I will use the stone pickaxe to carve around the diamond. You want to be very thorough with diamond deposits. Make sure you look all around in case there's any adjacent blocks with diamond inside. I think that might be it for this one. Again, usually you're lucky if you get 4 or 5 at a time for diamond. It's obviously a pretty rare resource, especially at this level. I don't think we're close to the official diamond level. does it say? We're on -15 is our sort of altitude, so that's interesting. I didn't know it actually spawned this high up, but we will happily take it. Also, I will run away because I hear skeletons and I see creepers, and we don't want none of that. So we're going to use this to get up. Oops. There we go. Use the water to get up back onto this bridge. I'm going to jog across. And we're going to get out of this cave for a little bit here and do some overworld exploration. The goal of which being primarily to get coal for more torches. And yes, I do know I kind of went overkill on some of these torches, but that's for visibility from the surface. So I wanted it to be very obvious where our safe platform is. It's raining, and let me see if the merchant's still there. Yep, he's still hanging out. We'll go around and see if we can talk to him and interact with him. I don't know if he uses emeralds like a villager to trade with, or if you can even trade with him at all, but let's go chat and see. Huh? There we go. Look at that. Look at all these trades. Okay, so we can trade items. So give him, looks like water or milk for emeralds, and then he will take emeralds for all these other items. None of which I really care about right now, but that's fun. It's fun, yeah. Fun guy. Looks like he's going to make his way out. Maybe he can figure out a route himself. We'll see. But for now, let's go back to base. We'll offload some of our newly gotten gear, namely the diamonds and the iron. You can see our trees are starting to grow back in nicely, so we have a fresh source of wood. And I think it is finally time to actually harvest all of those wheat crops we've been sitting on. So again, we put the raw iron in the furnace to start smelting away. The diamond's already good to go. Again, we're going to just save that for the time being. I don't want to risk losing it due to my very sloppy habits. However, we are going to turn around and grab some wheat seeds. The rest we should get from the harvest. I don't even know if we need the hoe actually to harvest the wheat, but we'll make one just in case. I think the hoe is meant to be used just to make the dirt sort of tilled so it's usable. I guess I need to make more sticks, huh? Yeah, I must have lost those, so we'll take the birch. Birch goes to crafting, goes to planks. Planks, grab half, go to all sticks. There we go. Back to the crafting table, and we'll make our hoe here. There we are. Easy peasy. We'll keep everything else on hand. And let's see. We'll do a little experiment. So holding a pickaxe and clicking, looks like we get a seed and a wheat. Seed and a wheat. Seed and a wheat. Okay, now let's do it with the hoe. I think it's the same. Yeah, it doesn't even seem like the hoe is actually going to, doesn't even take away durability, so that is fine by me. We're going to go through here and just wipe out. Honestly, we'll wipe out everything, just because most of it's grown. This way, when we replant, everything should grow at a little bit more of a consistent pace. It's also easier than kind of piecemealing around everything. Look at that. Lots of seeds, lots of wheat. We'll pick all this up, and we'll replant all of our wheat seeds. I always start with the remainder piles. Then we go on to our full pile. More. And look at that. Already starting to grow. Well, that's fantastic. So, another thing we could do in the short term here is we have some wild sugarcane. Sugarcane grows in sand adjacent to water. So what we'll do is harvest just the, we'll leave the bottom, and then you can replant it. Again, I don't really need it right now, but by replanting it, you can effectively triple your yield, because all this will now grow up into all of its own sugarcane. So as time goes on, we'll make a legitimate sugarcane farm. You could actually make a farm that auto-harvests I believe using observer blocks. I think that might be a newer, well, not newer, but sort of mechanized block. So basically, it observes, and something blocks it, it activates. So in this case, you can activate a piston, which can then push the sugarcane into a big bucket. And again, we're cooking all of our food here. There we go. And we'll store the excess wheat. And you know what? I'm actually going to store like half the bread. I'm only taking 10 bread with us. Because as we have seen in this playthrough, I have a penchant for passing away due to random items and creatures and obviously creepers. So we will eat up just to that point, and I'm going to jog. You know what? Let's get rid of this gold as well. We can throw this in a chest. I don't know if the raw gold needs to be... I guess it does need to be smelted into an ingot, probably. Yes. Still get that confused with gold nuggets sometimes, because gold nuggets, I think you need to combine 9 of them into a single ingot. But raw gold is different than gold nuggets. Let's go over here. I don't think I've explored over here yet. Again, I am aware that it is about to be nighttime. But the day is still, you know, still some good light left in the day, so I'm going to jog over this direction. And we'll see what we see. Again, there's some exposed stone here. I guess that's the sound of sand. That's kind of a cool sound effect. I thought that was a creeper for a minute there. Freaked me out. I do, of course, see this exposed coal. And look at that, even some exposed iron. So not a bad little spot to find. Not a bunch of useful stuff, but we will definitely take this coal. Again, you might get lucky occasionally in the early game and find a massive patch of coal, because it does have a better chance of growing in large ore veins. It's like growing, I guess. It doesn't really grow, but you know, you could find it in a large ore vein. Looks pretty good. I think that's all we'll get from that one. Yeah. Grab these. And there we are. The sand has started to descend. The ever-treacherous sand. Basically, when one block gets updated, the rest will start falling down. Like loose sand particles. Thankfully, there's also sandstone and limestone, so they will help hold back some of that loose sand. But for now, let's head back to base. It's getting kind of dark. And I don't want to lose all this coal that I just found, so we're going to go back towards base. Which we know is near the water. Oh, there's a skeleton. Again, I think I need to build a shield. Which I don't know if I need iron for that or if I could just use wood. But I think a shield would really help me out when it comes to fighting the skeletons. So I could just block their arrows. So that might be a smart choice to make, especially when there's this many between me and my base. Which is not cool at all. Not cool at all. Actually, I'm going to run away from these guys because there's too many. We're going to skip past this creeper. And eat a little bit of bread. And hope for the best. Again, I probably should have come back a little earlier in the night to sleep. So now we are risking our base to a creeper. But we will close this here. Can I sleep? Technically, it's letting me sleep. I don't know if we're going to sleep through the night. There we go. Okay, I also need to probably install some glass to stop the arrows. We're going to run out the front door here. Again, sunshine is your friend. It's going to kill everything except for, I believe, the creepers. So all these skeletons and zombies should burn up if they're in the direct sunlight. And then the creeper, ideally we can draw him away from our base. And look at that, we just got all sorts of bad guys here. Okay. He should die. Yep. Okay. I'll heal up here. And again, another very dicey evening. More experienced players watching this are probably screaming at the screen right now because I could just be placing a lot of torches around my base so that we don't have this problem every single night. So I might do that today. Again, nobody likes creeper holes all over the place, so I will be filling some of these as we go. Why not? We'll throw some sand in there. Even more creeper holes there, but what are you going to do? So let's go in here and craft up some torches. Let's take all we can make. And yes, I think it is time to torch our base. And by torch, I just mean place torches. Fairly regular intervals here, with the hopes of dissuading the onslaught of enemies. And again, we can put them in the general area around our base. I see you. Okay. So again, just kind of putting these a little randomly. I believe they go, I think it's something like 7 tiles, or they light up 7 tiles, up, left, down, and right around them. This is just to give us a little bit more of a relaxing base area. We don't have to worry about constantly being ambushed at night. And again, I'm not sure if those firefly plants work to actually act as light or not. It would be kind of cool if they did, but I feel like they don't. I don't think they're strong enough. And why not? We'll put some lights through the acacia tree area as well. Basically, I'll just use what's left of this particular stack. And we'll call that a fairly well-lit base region. Yes, moo, Mr. Cow, moo. And I saw that creeper over there. What are you doing over here, buddy? Come on. Guess he's blowing stuff up. Oh, that's no fun. Okay. Fortunately, it seems like they destroy more dirt than they displace. So you never get quite enough to fill the hole back, which is part of the reason that creepers are so annoying. Just one reason of many. Okay. Put a couple more around back, and then I think that'll do it. Got 6 more on the stack. Yeah, we'll use the rest of the stack. Okay, that feels pretty good for now. So again, we're just trying to, add a little bit of safety to our actual home base area for now. Also, I will eventually upgrade this entire structure, make it look a little bit more fancy. But for now, we are being very, what's the word? Utilitarian with our designs. So we're only using what is necessary. Okay, let's check our inventory again. Get rid of some of the extras. Actually, I'm going to save that and maybe that. Got bread for the raw iron and the smelter. And you know what? Let's grab a little bit more bread for now. Okay. That looks good to me. So we'll look over this way real quick. I know I chopped a few trees here in the first episode. We're going to go a little bit further, check out that hill. Again, we're looking for just sort of easy resources or unique points of interest, like maybe another village. Things like that. Let's see, we have a squid underwater, so we're going to swim. Hopefully not get attacked by that squid. All right. Bumblebees for honey. Again, I'll have to figure out how that works. I don't really want to attack a beehive without knowing exactly what I'm doing, because they could also take me out. What do we have over here? Nice flowery meadow, some exposed rock. Oh, looks to be another ravine of sorts. Let's go to the end here and take a peek inside. See what we see. Very deep ravine. This might actually connect to the other one. It's not too far. But we can go in. I definitely saw a little bit of coal, so we'll try to go for that. Yeah, we got some coal deposits here. And I'm going to kind of carve my own little staircase in. Hop up there. Okay, that seems to be all for that one. There's one over here. I'm being cautious though because it is a pretty severe drop all the way down to that lava, so I don't want to hit that anytime soon. Okay. Back up 12 coal, not too shabby. Again, we could use that as another mine entrance in the future. I'm going to walk over towards this cliff face. It's like another little mini mine entrance here. Let's check this out here. Again, I actually prefer when there is smaller mine entrance because it's a lot more manageable if you come across any mobs or hostile enemies. This one seems to be pretty low key. There is a little bit of iron, so we'll grab that. Okay, I think that was just a single chunk. That's okay. Otherwise, nothing to write home about in this particular cave, so we'll head back out. Sounds like a big old cow walking around. Okay, I think I see mine on the side of this cliff. Let's go check that out. It's a bee doing its thing. I guess that's the noise of a bee popping out of the beehive. So the honey looks like it's dripping. Can I right click on this? No. I don't really want to hit the hive with anything. I don't know. In almost every game I've played, hitting a beehive is ill-advised. So it's kind of common sense not to do that. We will stick with common sense. Again, I could probably hop up here and get to that iron. Some creative mountaineering. Yes, I'm aware a shovel would be much quicker than a pickaxe, but if it's only a little bit of dirt, I don't mind using the pickaxe. I'm gonna grab this iron here and keep exploring. Probably head back towards our base for nighttime. And we're going to sleep through the night here, avoiding any unnecessary mob spawns. Doing a quick check of our stream health. No drop frames, looking good. Okay. All right. More iron for the furnace, so we'll throw that in. Again, I'm not going to use all of it right now that we have for armor because it's probably better used for pickaxes and tools. Sooner than later, though, we will create iron armor. I just want to make sure we have a decent supply of the iron first. So we've explored a little bit to, well, let's see, that's going to be east. That's going to be west. So we explored a little bit northwest, a little bit directly to the east. This appears to be at least a sea, if not a potential ocean, to our northeast, so I'm not going to worry about that one yet. We'll go back towards the village, and we'll see what is going on over there. Again, they might have some favorable trade offers where certain villagers have a great deal with emeralds. So what you can do is basically figure out what they're buying and what they're selling. And that way, instead of having to mine for all of our iron, we might be able to sell something that we produce for emeralds, and then use said emeralds to purchase the iron. Again, the quantities aren't always worth the effort, but if it's something easy, we can look into that. Let's say they're purchasing eggs. We could create a big chicken farm, get a bunch of eggs, sell that to the villagers, and then use the emeralds they give us to buy iron. Assuming, of course, that they also sell iron. So, again, this is all contingent on what they have in their inventories, but we haven't really spoken to all the villagers yet, so I do want to get a better eye on their wares. I know this is a very weird setup for the village. Also, yeah, we got some exposed coal, so we'll just grab this while we're in the area. I'm sure they won't mind a little bit of the foundation of their village missing. Here goes a pickaxe, and you know what? That's all we've got. Well, we can use the iron one for now. That's fine. It's quicker. That's what it's for. Ripping through the rock at record pace. Alright. That's good for now. We'll grab this little guy over here. Okay. There could be more around there, but I'm not gonna stress too much about grabbing all that. We need to talk to some villagers. So I know there's a couple houses down here I never spoke with. So let's go in here and see who is home. Also, you can just loot from the village, right? We got all this bread and gold nuggets. There's no reason not to grab that. We also have acacia saplings, which is somewhat useful. That'll help our endeavors for a sustainable wood product. I don't know what this is actually made out of, but it looks very cool. Stone cutter. We'll figure out what that does further on. Again, I'm just going to loot everything I find for now. Let's just go up into the... I know we can mine some of this stuff, but today is more of a villager-focused day, so we'll head up here through the water and up to the main village area. You can also, I believe, ringing the bell should, in theory, summon all the nearby villagers. See right here, this guy, I believe that he sells a shovel for an emerald, and he also buys 15 coal for 1 emerald. Not the best trade-off, if I'm being honest. I will, however, take those boots. They have a curse of binding, though, so you gotta be aware of that. Curse of binding means that once you put it on, it does not come off until you die. Which is a big deal in a hardcore world. In a world like mine, not as dramatic. You know, because I die quite frequently. That's never really an issue. These cute little houses. The farmers, the chickens, crafting table. Not a lot of commerce in this village. He buys potatoes and carrots. I think, for an emerald. I'll have to figure that out. I don't know which direction is in it being indicated by those arrows, so it would make more sense that the farmer sells potatoes and carrots, so maybe that's what he's doing, is selling them for 1 emerald. Can't talk to you, I guess? No? Okay. Alright, well. So not a whole lot of options for commerce in that village. Still seem like nice people, though. Let's go over this way. I believe we're actually fairly close to where we spawned in. I'm going to go uphill here just to get another better view of the landscape. So I don't think it's supposed to be dusk yet. Maybe it's just kind of hazy. I don't know. Again, this should be... I think we're headed west currently. Ooh, a little bit of a rainforest. Just rain in a forest. And look at that. Yet another deep ravine here. I don't want to get stuck, but we will take a little peek down here. Yeah, that goes all the way, so we're going to avoid getting stuck in there for the day. Whoa, my goodness. That would have been rough if we fell into there. So again, I should be able to see, I think over there is our base. Back to the east. Oh, look, another village over here. This one looks like it's a little bit larger, so let's go check this out. And I'm trying to be more careful when I go down these hills. Sometimes you can find yourself dropping 3 or 4 blocks and taking damage for no reason. Also, I'm not 100%, but it does seem like the clouds kind of flow from east to west. So I think that's another way of indicating direction if the sun is not visible. So that's kind of nice to know. Again, that could change depending on weather, but I think that seems to be a pretty hard, fast rule. And look at this. We got a whole bunch of new buildings to look into. A lot of pumpkins. Let's see, this is the library. Looks like this is a tavern, crafting saloon. Oh, look at all these villagers hanging out. Cool. So, the cartographer. So it looks like he will sell you 24 paper for an emerald. Or he'll give you 7 emeralds for an empty map? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you buy an empty map with 7 emeralds. And you buy an emerald with 24 paper. I think that's probably more realistic. Again, I'll figure that out before my next episode just to make sure. The novice. Clay for emerald or emerald for bricks. The butcher. So he's... Yeah, I think he buys the raw chicken and gives you emeralds, so... that's actually not the worst thing. It seems like a lot of chicken, though, for a single emerald. So again, we'll start to learn what is considered to be a reasonable exchange rate. But again, if you make a very efficient farm or an auto farm, then it doesn't really matter what the exchange rate is if you're generating infinite amounts of items. Oh, there's a kitty cat's over here. Some wheat seeds, why not? We'll grab those. And I guess I need to eat some more food to be sprinting around like I want to. Okay, that looks good for now. Oh, what is that? A little kid villager? That is adorable. I'm not hitting him, by the way. I'm just right-clicking. That is hilarious. I didn't know they had small villagers. What do you know? You learn something new every day in Minecraft here. Um, Sun is setting. We might spend the night in the village. 'Cause I don't really want to fight my way all the way back to base, and it is a bit of a jog. So yeah, let's find a nice little bed to post up in overnight. I wonder if I can trick them all to going to the bell. Come all ye faithful. No? Nobody? Okay. This is the last building to explore. We have it here. Ooh, wheat and raw pork chop and mutton. So maybe this is like a butcher's storehouse. Very cool. Oh yeah, above cattle. Very logical place to have the cows. Let's find a bed and call it a night here. Again, this does technically set our respawn point at the village, but that'll be okay. We'll just head back to the base on this next day and reset our spawn point. Again, assuming the sun rises in the east, we want to head towards it to find our base. The main issue I'm having right now with the villagers is while they are buying a lot of stuff, they don't seem to be selling anything that I would want to waste all my time getting emeralds to purchase. So until I find a more lucrative looking village, I'm not going to worry about coming back too often. And again, I recall back in the day, people would sort of set up a villager marketplace, if you will. You can kind of trap the villagers in little rooms. That way they're always available and they're not in danger of being killed or anything. And you can use them sort of as a resource exchange market. But again, that takes a little bit more know-how than I currently have. He said as he fell into the water. And I need to dig myself out with a sword, because, you know, super effective digging utensil. Anyways, yeah, so that might be another thing I need to do a little bit of research on, sort of between episodes, is how to set up that villager marketplace. Also, while I like where we are right now, we got a couple villages, some interesting mines and stuff. It's not necessarily our, once and future home. My current plan of attack is basically to build up enough to where I have pretty good armor and decent resources. But our long-term strategy will be to finish the nether portal and use the nether, the 8-to-1 nether kind of transport mechanics to get us into a new area where we can eventually find a much more suitable sort of long-term home area. Which will again be dictated primarily by aesthetics. Right? You can use the nether to get almost anywhere in the game, but if you want to find a cool home area, that's just pretty much entirely subjective. That's going to be where I think looks cool and where I want to be posted up for a long time. Because again, we're not on hardcore mode, so this can last as long as we want. We can die as many times as we need to. Low stakes game, so that I can kind of relearn the basics of Minecraft. Eventually, I might fool around with something a little bit more high stakes, more challenging. Maybe we'll jump back into a multiplayer server, or I'll start up maybe a pocket kind of small server with a few folks. I generally don't like the massive servers, though. There's just too much going on. You got to keep up with all these different mechanics. You got to vote every day for servers on different forums and things. It's kind of a whole lot. So for a multiplayer, I like it to keep it kind of small and basically make like a small sort of cohesive player village. So I think it's the same trader that we saw earlier in the playthrough. Yeah. Indeed. Our base is over here. Also, we have the big nether portal, which is not the worst kind of beacon. But at some point I will build, actually I think they are called beacons. It's sort of a big ray of light that shoots into the sky. And I think they give you like bonuses. So that's great to sort of indicate where your base is from a large distance. And again, I am a bit of a hoarder, so we're going to save the majority of these items to use later, because I feel very uncertain about my character's immediate future. I took about half the day to get back to base. So, let's see. What else do we want to do in the short term? Let's take a brief pause here and check the stream. I think I might actually continue off north-northwest here, past these little sandy area, because I did notice that there seem to be some large hills in the not too far distance. But as with any game of Minecraft, sooner than later we will have to return to the mines themselves to get more resources. Primarily iron and diamonds. I think I can kill these fish with my sword. I don't know. I don't know how fishing works. You can set up fishing traps, that might be kind of cool. Oh, there's like different shades of water here. That's interesting. So I think this is indicating like a different water biome, because I do know they have like coral reefs now is a thing, where it's different underwater things. You can find the shipwrecks, there's underwater temples, all sorts of stuff. So, and again, throughout the series, you'll keep hearing me use the term new, and that is relative to me. I say new, it could have been in the game for, I don't know, 5-6 years at this point. But there's a lot of things that are new to me. Yeah, this is what I was seeing. Sort of past the sandy beach area there, it's sort of wide open field with a little bit of a hill. I'm gonna go north though, and we'll see what we see. Again, sometimes this is just for the fun of it. Not always on a strictly resource-focused mission. But sometimes you find useful stuff. Like right here, it seems like we're actually transferring into more of a jungle biome, I think. That's what the vines indicate. Yeah, I think in the jungle you have the thicker trees. Instead of being one square, they are 2x2. So great for more wood. Those are either foxes or wolves down there. I don't know. They look brown, so maybe foxes. Let's go over here and we'll check out this little hilltop area. This looks like more of the savanna, though. We have plenty of that biome nearby. A lot of creatures. It's definitely a very animal-friendly zone. Alright, I can do a little parkour over here. Again, I am atrocious at parkour. I did attempt a brief parkour map when I got back onto the game, and I couldn't even pass the easy levels of any given parkour map, so definitely not a pro when it comes to Minecraft movement mechanics. So I try to keep things safe. That's why you'll see me very frequently fall to my demise. We'll ignore that coal for now. I want to check out this village. Yeah, these cows seem different. I guess these are the bulls. Oh, and also another thing I think I recall is that cats will sort of scare away creepers. I think creepers avoid cats. So this is the weaponsmith. Okay, so this has to be how it goes. You pay what is on the left for whatever is on the right. So if I give him 15 coal, he gives me an emerald. If I give him 11 emeralds, he gives me a fancy iron sword with Bane of Arthropods and Unbreaking 2. That's actually not too bad. But I don't know if I would trade him the coal directly, but maybe we can get emeralds from some other method. Yeah, so the butcher, he takes the rabbit and the chicken, he gives you the emeralds. Okay, I think that's got to be how it works. Left to the right. We have over here. Oh, that's the armorer. Okay, iron boots. This is the mason. Okay, so I'm seeing our archetypes kind of coming into play here. Oh, an emerald and a flower pot. Nice. Took the clay ball. Sure enough, some new recipes. Oh, taking everybody's life savings, all these emeralds. I will happily take, as well as the bucket. And I don't really know if the grass is super useful. I think that might be more decorative than anything else, but we're taking it. So I'm not sure next time I'll be back near this village. What is this? A blast furnace? I guess that's just like a really, maybe a super efficient furnace. Probably burns more fuel, but it works faster. I'm guessing that's how it would work. So there's got to be a trade-off of some kind. It looks like there's a big old kind of sinkhole underneath this village. A smoker, that's cool. So again, I'm assuming that could be used on fish to cook it without using the furnace. Maybe it uses something other than coal. Empty map, paper. Okay. So we're robbing the cartographer's house, and you know what, while we're here, oh, they have a little dock, that's cool. I don't recall if we came in here yet. Oh, a compass. Excellent. So the compass, again, will imply, I believe, where north is. Which, according to my assumption, if north is this way, well, the sun's setting in the west, so maybe the compass points south. I think red points. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think that points to your spawn point. Which, in my case, I don't think I reset the spawn point to actually be my home base. So we'll ignore the compass and we'll head back towards. You know what? The sun is setting. Let's just sleep in this village. We'll continue exploring on the next day. Yes, moo, Mr. Cow, moo. What was it? Repair and disenchant. Oh, interesting. I've got a bed I can hang out in. Can I kick you out of your bed? Yeah, let me pop a squat for the night. Oh. I think it's the next morning. Yes. And let's double check here. This compass is now pointing away from the bed. Interesting. Let me see here. So it does seem to be pointing in a specific direction. I think it's pointing... Oh, this might point back to our original 0-0 spawn point, because it's not pointing in any specific cardinal direction. That's directly south. That's directly east. So I think it's pointing back to 0-0. So on our coordinates X and Z are 0-0. I think that's where this is pointing us to. So again, I'll double check that. That might be another thing to do a little self-education on between episodes. Told myself I would try to learn the majority of this as we play along in this sort of 12 years later playthrough. But for certain basic mechanics, things that I should honestly probably still know from back when I used to play, I feel as though it's probably acceptable to look it up on my own terms. Big old jungle over there. I don't want to mess with that though right now. One cool thing about the jungle is you can get, I think, cocoa pods are an item you can get from the jungle, which allows you to make chocolate. Oh! Gotta keep an eye on these sinkholes. Get out of there. Alright. And if I recall, the cocoa farm is actually pretty efficient once you get it all set up and moving. Again, I think most of the farms, most things in this game can be automated to a certain degree. You can use redstone, observers, dispensers. I think they have hoppers, which are like funnels that collect items and just put them into a chest for you. That way they don't disappear by just laying on the ground for too long. I think, again, that's how the sugarcane farm works. I might just make that as an initial farm, sort of a proof of concept, and just to sort of wet my whistle when it comes to automating processes. Let's swim, actually, through this area just to see. And I think they made the underwater a little bit more expansive in previous years. So obviously we have more fish, but they have more things. You can find shipwrecks in the temples. I think I mentioned that already. But you do still have breath. You have to hold your breath like any normal human. So unless you have special gear or potion to let you breathe underwater for longer, you got to keep that in mind. Like, look at this big old underwater kind of crater Interesting. Also, it seems like you can sort of tap shift to sort of sprint or swim faster underwater, which is nice. I think your character also flattens out. They turn into a, I believe, like a crawling or prone position. Some interesting sound effects too. They definitely made it seem more immersive when you're submerged. Again, this eternal fire and things, I believe that's sort of a only exists around these pre-existing nether portals. I don't think that can really be replicated too frequently in a survival world. But yes, let's offload. Again, let's reset our spawn point. So it's on our normal bed. And I'll do a little jog around the cabin here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was correct. That compass is pointing us to 0, 0. Because at this point we are almost directly on X, 0. Actually, if I move 12 squares this way, that is X, 0. We are now in line with our starting point. And again, if we went 450 squares this way, that would be spawn. And sure enough, it looks to be exactly where our compass is pointing. So that's good to know. Again, spawn point being the spot where you first started in the game, when our world was first created. Upload some of our goodies. And keeping all the important stuff in the chest for the time being, so as not to lose it upon death. And I might just run around and plant some more of these acacia saplings. We'll expand our sort of little acacia forest over here. Let me see, can I plant these? Yeah, okay, I can plant them on different biomes. I don't know if they grow any better or worse in different biomes, but do you know acacias need a little bit more room because they tend to grow diagonally, as you're seeing. To that end, it's probably not the best tree to use for a tree farm, now that I think about it, because they are very inconsistent in size and shape, and therefore a little bit trickier to harvest. Oh, some of them have these kind of natural staircases, which is nice. But yeah, I might stick with more oak wood for now. These sort of standard, smaller trees, but a lot easier to harvest. So on that front, we actually do need more wood, because I think I used the last of it for sticks. So let's go through here and chop all these down. And this will probably take us through to the end of this day, and likely the end of this particular episode. So again, we've done a little bit more exploring. We found a couple new villages with some interesting villagers. We got our first diamonds on board, so that's always an exciting moment. We haven't made too much progress in the mines themselves, but we got a little bit more coal and a lot more torches, so we can light up the way for more mining in the future. Progress is being made. We'll think of goals for the next episode while we finish chopping these trees down. I'd like to expand the base a little bit, maybe use cobblestone to reinforce the bottom areas, to make them more resistant to creeper attacks. Also, we lit up the immediate vicinity, so hopefully there will be less mobs altogether near our base at nighttime. Bet you we can actually be working through the night instead of just skipping it and sleeping every time it gets dark. Also, I will eventually start creating some automated farming setups. First one is probably going to be a sugarcane farm, because those could be fairly small. They don't take too many resources. Also, back in the day, I used to make a creative sort of hydroponic wheat farm that would automatically harvest the wheat by using running water. So I might look into recreating that as well. That one doesn't take as many direct resources, but it does take a little bit of terraforming to make sort of a terraced, sort of a sloped collection farm for that to happen. But I think we have just the spot over here. Again, it needs to be close enough to where the farm is actively running while we're playing the game. So before I create the bigger farms, I might actually be scouting more for a better official base spot. Again, this is a nice wide open area. That'd be good for our short-term base, but I don't think we'll be settling here for the long term. We have an apple. Get that apple. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of walk around and grab saplings and apples as they drop. And we will replant our oak saplings. We could do birch as well. There's no problem with that. Again, I'm doing this because the acacia, I acknowledge, are not the best trees for mass farming. So we're going to kind of focus more in on these straight up old-fashioned vertical trees. Again, we're being careful to leave the torches in the ground to dissuade mob spawns from happening. So how are we feeling after 3 episodes now? We're a little bit more confident. Oh my goodness, we're getting raided. One down. Any buddies? I think that's a traitor. I think we're good, actually. I think it was just the single guy. Okay. Well, interesting way right there at the end to sneak in. He got another ominous banner. We have another ominous bottle, which I've learned a little bit more about. I think we actually save those when we are going on the offensive. So I think they're meant to be used when we're attacking the raiders' outposts. So I will not use that haphazardly like we did last time. But yeah, that's an interesting way to end our episode here with a little miniature raid. One man with a crossbow and a dream trying to take us down. Looks like the John McClane of raiders. All right. I think that's going to do it. Let's head back to base. We can hang up our new ominous banner now that we have a matching pair, as a warning to future raiding parties that we're not so new in town anymore. We've been fighting the good fight. Alrighty, again, if you made it this far in the episode, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Tallidus Plays.